Preston, Pompano Beach, Florida, hit me, and he said, I know a lot of people think that with playoff expansion, it means more teams can win it all. But I think that's the new lie in college football. Preston's words, not mine, but I agree with him. He continues, so give it to me straight. Who can realistically and actually win it all in 2025? You're asking for a spoiler, Preston. I appreciate it because you could be busy this fall. We all got things going on in our personal lives, and you may be able to see around the corner, and you may be able to know, I'm not going to have a lot of free time this fall. Maybe you're getting drugged to several fall weddings. Don't even know what the plural of fall weddings are. I hope to never have to learn it, but here we are. So just put a good old-fashioned S on the end. But you may be thinking, I don't have time to watch it in real time. Just let me know. Who can win it all? Who do I need to pay attention to? Well, Preston, to answer that question in classical spring form, I have to ask you a question. If you don't know the answer, that's fine. But anyone out there who knows the answer, I need you to tell me this. Let me lean forward a little bit. Let me do the thinking man pose. Are we going to have a normal college football year? What do I mean by that? What is normal in this unpredictable sport of ours, or this chaotic sport? What's normal? Well, I think you'd agree with me. Even in the more chaotic years, 2007 notwithstanding, even in the more chaotic years, usually we've had one or two teams, usually of the elite recruiting programs, one or two of them at least, sort of scale their production and scale their level of play, where even if they started off kind of sketchy, they end up rounding into form. Your Alabamas, your Ohio States, your Georgias, whatever, Clemson, they end up rounding into form. Ohio State did this past year. So by the end of the road, to beat Ohio State would have taken a pretty substantial effort from a pretty talented organization, or program, as we call them at the college level. Point being, that's a normal year. A normal year leads to one of about 7 or 8 programs playing at a level that very few teams could beat even on their best day. So if that is what this year consists of, we got a whole nother discussion. But as you well know, Preston, and as anyone who watches or listens to this show knows, we've been pointing this out for about a month and a half now. There are certain telltale signs that we may have extreme chaos and unpredictability down the road in the 2025 season. I have in my hands an important piece of paper, so much so that I will pop it on camera for you, immunity. Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, and Georgia. Mainstays, right? Perennial favorites to win this or to be involved in that. Great recruiting programs, great head coaches at these places. Yes, all right, we're pointing out things we already know. Well, here's what else we know. Those are, at FanDuel, as we speak, the top 4 teams in the odds to win the national championship this year. Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, Georgia. Okay? Not breaking news, right? Well, if we're considering those the favorites, Preston, here's why I think we may be headed down a road of chaos and unpredictability. None of those teams returns a starting quarterback. That's the first thing. The second thing is none of those 4 teams returns over 50% production. Does that mean that they'll suck? Of course not. Does that mean that they'll all flame out and go 8-4, 9-3? No, it doesn't. In fact, for all I know, Dante Moore could just kill it at Oregon. Oregon could end up having the best version of themselves Dan Lanning's had so far. That could happen. Most years it does happen. But Preston, I want you to play a little game with me tonight on the show. I want you to just pretend along with me that that doesn't happen. Oregon's just really good this year. Ohio State's just really good. Georgia, pretty good, really good. Texas, pretty good, really good. Somewhere in that realm. B+, A-, but there is no elite team. Let's say that's the case when we get to November. Well, what a wild college football world that would be, right? Now, I don't know this is going to happen, but in the interest of the fact that it's April, let's just pretend, Preston, if we have that situation, we got a wide open landscape. And as I said a couple of weeks ago, and I'll reiterate this, if we have that wide open landscape, you have to condition yourself to get ready to maybe see some things you said would never happen. Some teams, some coaches competing to win the whole thing that you never thought would compete to win the whole thing. So in the SEC, let me cut in really quick and ask, look, prayer hands, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you think you're subscribed, check and make sure. Over 50% of you aren't. It's free, it doesn't sign you up for anything, and it helps us keep the show free, college football year-round, the way God intended it. All right, back to the clip. Here's the thing about the SEC. If we have an elite team somewhere, whether it's an SEC team or not, we're talking about winning the national title. If there's an elite team that forms out there, could be Oregon, could be Georgia, the pool in the SEC of teams that I think could win the whole thing is much smaller. But if we don't have an elite team, and it just takes being pretty good and clicking at the right time with a deep and talented roster, then the SEC, I kid you not, is like 8 deep, 9 deep of teams that if you told me they're going to win it all in a muddy season, I wouldn't be shocked by. LSU certainly wouldn't be shocked about them winning it either way, because I think they've got high-end potential as a team this year no matter what. Bama, year 2 under DeBoer, could do it either way. But think about Tennessee. Tennessee, I look at them right now, I think offensive line, what are they doing? Offensively, what are they doing? And so maybe if we have an elite team, if you guarantee me Ohio State is going to replenish themselves or Oregon's going to be 95 to 100% of what they were last year, I don't think Tennessee's got much of a shot. But if we don't live in that world, Tennessee's got a shot. Texas A&M's got a shot. Colin, you're showing you B-roll of Texas A&M there. How many people, most people out there, how many of you have said A&M's never going to win the national title? Many of you think that. It's okay to think that. And in a normal year, this Texas A&M team won't win a national championship. They won't compete for a national championship, I don't think. But if we don't have a normal year, if we have an atypical year, if someone who is a B or B plus out there that just gets hot at the right time is going to win the national title, could be them. Of course it could be Georgia. Of course it could be Texas. I'd say it could be Ole Miss. I would have paid money to simulate an alternate world where Ole Miss made it in the playoffs this past year. I didn't think they deserved to make it in. Let me be very clear. I didn't think they deserved to make it in. And so they didn't make it in. But if they had made it in, I thought they could have done some damage. South Carolina, like Florida, Oklahoma, if they make it through those schedules, in a very, very muddy season, that could happen. Ironically, though, in the Big Ten, I still see 3 of them. Ohio State and Oregon in any world can win the national championship. Penn State this year, especially if there's not an elite team, can win the national championship. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later on in a radically different context. But Penn State, I still struggle in my mind where if you go scenario A, scenario B, and scenario A is what we just talked about, there is an elite team somewhere out there. I struggle to view Penn State as being that apex predator of a team any given year, just because they've never been that. I have not seen them be that. Doesn't mean they can't, but I'd struggle to see that. Okay, so let's table that for a second. We're talking with our hands a lot tonight. Let's say scenario B does come to fruition, and we've got an environment come late November and December into the playoff where it's pretty obvious we don't have an elite team out there. Like, where's the Goliath that you've got to slay? He's not there. That kind of environment could lead to blue and white confetti raining down. Where are we going? Miami? I think Miami's the site of the national title next year, I think. Check me on that. But yeah, imagine standing there in Hard Rock Stadium and James Franklin's hoisting up a national championship trophy, and you're sitting there like you're rubbing your eyes and you're checking your alarm clock. Am I dreaming? What's happening here? I swore to myself this was impossible. How did this come to pass? Well, scenario B is how it came to pass. Michigan, can they do it? In either world, can they do it this year? I struggle with that. I struggle with seeing Nebraska do it in either world. We're not talking about making the playoff. This is, again, where we got to be specific. Preston asked, who can win it all? I don't know that Nebraska or Iowa or Wisconsin, even in a down year by college football standards, could rise to that level. They could make the playoff. Illinois, they could make the playoff, rising to the level of winning a title. I don't know about that. Notre Dame, absolutely. Clemson, absolutely. Miami, the talent roster's there. Where if we have, again, a down year, or who knows, man, maybe Carson Beck goes down there and shuts everyone up and just surges and just comes out the gate on fire, and their defensive coordinator change yields really, really immediately positive results. Maybe. I think the more likely scenario if Miami wins a national title is there wasn't an elite team. So Big 12, that's the most fun thing. That's the most fun aspect of this whole conversation is the Big 12 gets boxed out the minute you tell me there's going to be an A to an A-plus caliber team out there, because none of them are going to be able to touch that. But if there's not one, Texas Tech could make some noise. Arizona State could make some noise. Kansas State, like just randomly, could make some noise. Not that Kansas State is random. I'm just saying you wouldn't typically involve them in that conversation. So as you see, as you hear, it is April. True enough. We may have an elite team. But what do we know? We know every coach out there is complaining about how their depth doesn't stack up the way it used to, which is a product of the current environment we're in. I don't know how long that's going to last. Probably is here to stay to a certain extent, but we're still busy finding out. It's only 2025. Everyone tells you time flies. Well, I'm telling you, it's moving slow. It's only 2025, so we really haven't fully figured out what the new normal is going to be. We know what the new current reality is. We don't know if it's a blip on the radar screen or if this is here to stay, you know? So, Preston, in the interest of trying to have some fun with the lead segment on the show, maybe no elite team. If there's no elite team, I just named you a bunch that could win the whole thing. We will obviously whittle that down as the season goes on. Who knows, maybe even as spring goes on, as fall camps go on. A coach may speak erroneously at media days, and we may knock a couple of them out there. It's just an inside joke around here. The biggest takeaways from media days, winners and losers at media days. It's a segment that we will never do. I've sworn we will never do it. I have no idea what the logic is behind it. Rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. That's an alert from me. It's an internal mechanism for me to get back on track.